got some Vicks. Hello everybody, I'm fucking sick again, but I need to pull through because that wasn't part of the deal with myself. Last year, I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to crash and burn with a startup. Okay, so I wanted to tell this story of this business journey for a really long time now. Originally, this whole thing was going to be a complete story, but as I was writing it, I realized that there's a lot more content and things to be said that couldn't fit into a 10-minute video. So what I'm going to do now is do the shorter, abridged version, and eventually I want to tell the full story. That's something I'm making plans to do now, but I think that a 10-minute video won't do it any justice. So what I'm going to do is just do like a quick video about a couple of reasons as why we failed as a company. It was the fall of 2018. I was a sophomore in college. I had just finished my first internship at an insurance company, and I decided that I wanted to take a look into startup style work. So I joined this class, and that's where I met my other 3 business partners. And the whole premise of the class was to build a company from start to finish. These 2 classes ended up being super influential to the way I work and see the world. Our product was simple. We wanted to reduce the amount of steps required to connect with someone on social media. So rather than over the course of a month or 2 asking for Instagram, Snapchat, phone number, Facebook, all that stuff, we would connect you to a tree of usernames. And once you connected there, you could click through and get that information in a much more condensed area. So we did everything you would imagine in a romanticized college startup. We had a fully working app, a competent team. We were grinding in the dorm rooms, all that stuff, and winning all sorts of stuff. But at the end of the day, we still failed. To begin, we took way too long to go to market. We spent a tremendous amount of time working on our pitch decks rather than looking for customers and legitimately validating our idea. On the engineering side, our weekend goal of trying to finish the app turned into about 2.5 months. The time we had launched our first beta, it was 1, over-engineered, and 2, we had really poor code practices, so that again set us back a couple of weeks. There were features that really gave no insights and were unnecessary for solving the problem we were trying to solve. So if we were to go back and think, the problem we're trying to solve, is it necessary to have a profile picture system? Or is it necessary to look people up or to have a complete settings page? Not really. If I were to do it again, or if we as a team were to do it again, I think one thing we should have focused on more was customer discovery and building a legit MVP, not a semi-finished product, just the bare minimum features. The ultimate test that you have a business is when someone's actually willing to pay or give their time for your product. So this is the next point. We had really, really bad customer discovery. Our survey tended to be, will you use this app? And people would say yes, but that really doesn't mean shit. You know, if people truly wanted to use our app, they would have either offered money on the spot or legitimately downloaded it and used it, which is eventually something we saw in the data when we did our first launch. People weren't really using our app. So this is why it's so crucial to launch early and collect data as quick as possible. Then there was the bubble. In other words, we thought we were farther along than we actually were. When you're trying something new, usually people's opinions tend to blind you on what's true. We had all sorts of successful business people telling us we had something really, really great. Friends and family ultimately did the same thing, in addition to our surveys being extremely biased. And then everyone who claimed they would use our app, or everyone who claimed they wouldn't use our app or give us negative feedback, we tend to just push aside. With our egos already fully inflated, we pitched at a pitch competition and won $1,000. So that went to our heads even more. At the end of the day, we still really had no validation that said our idea was going to become a successful business. So with this realization, we finally went to market and started working on the app and treated it like a legit business. So we were doing feature validation and more customer discovery stuff. So we're focused less on our bias surveys. Eventually, things got close to around 40 hours a week. So this was becoming almost a full-time job. I remember one meeting, I was like, this legit just became a job. And then there was one morning I woke up and just no longer wanted to work on the business. It was literally night and day. So my realization was, why am I putting in all this work for something that I'm not that passionate about? So I was like, is this problem even worth trying to solve? And no, I really didn't want to build social media trees. It literally means nothing to me. And it wasn't worth my blood, sweat, and tears. Eventually, I discovered that my teammates had a similar feeling in their gut. And one day we had a meeting that we were going to quit, and we ended it. The real reason we quit was because of a lack of passion. We ended up repairing a lot of the stuff, more focusing on customer discovery and seeing what would get people to stick. And we were savvy enough to cut costs. We ended up only spending around 25 to 30% of our total budget of $1,000. And there tends to be this notion in the entrepreneurial world that if you sit and grind, you'll make all this money and you'll have an app and suddenly you'll become happy. And we realized that that's complete false. Until you actually do it, you won't quite realize what I'm talking about. Really, at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is your happiness, because the entire journey, you're going to be doing the same stuff every day. Not to be super cliche, but a lot of successful entrepreneurs out there say that it's 100% the process. And I know that that's true more now than ever. I've told the short story of this whole thing. This was a really short story, but we've definitely impressed a lot of other successful entrepreneurs out there. And it wasn't the fact that we started a company or had minor successes that impressed them. It's the fact that we had the self-awareness to say that this problem wasn't for us and we weren't going to be the ones to solve it.